And the message is consistent, in Kenya and Canada, around the world, that we must celebrate our women, celebrate our moms, celebrate our sisters, our daughters, because ultimately, without them, society would not function.
The Kenyan Canadian Association celebrated this year their very first International Women's Day with a workshop and dinner in Brampton, Canada.
This is an occasion that is always in my heart, where women can be able to meet, where women can be able to celebrate, where women can be able to get an opportunity to dress up and put on that shoes that sometimes we don't have an opportunity to wear.
Join us as we take a look at the inspiring stories of the women involved and the impact of the event on the community.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and first and foremost, I want to say Happy International Women's Day, Women's Month, Women's Year.
At this event, the chief guest was Her Excellency, Pastor Dr. Dorcas Rigathi, EGH, the spouse of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Of course, there were other special guests you will discover during the show. Before we continue, what is the Kenyan Canadian Association and the why of this event?
Thank you very much. KCA is Kenyan Canadian Association. It is a federal organization that was incorporated in 2019. We have 19 regions across Canada. And in those regions, we have a council which is composed of regional chairs. And we have various programs that serve the newcomers and all the other marginalized people across the country. What I would like to say is that KCA is there to make sure that we are able to champion the issues of women. And that's why today we have International Women's Day celebration and dinner. We have very special guests who have joined us. We have the spouse of the Kenya Deputy President, Her Excellency, Pastor Dr. Dorcas Rigathi, who is very special to us. He's a chief guest. And we also had the pleasure of hosting the Mayor of Brampton, Patrick Brown, plus other guests who actually graced this event.
Why KCA have to celebrate women?
Well, our core program, we have 8 core programs in our organization, and Women and Gender Affairs program is actually the most that we are very passionate about. Women have been center of ensuring that our organization has grown from volunteering. They are able to give their time, they give their resources, and that's why we have really championed the plight of women.
KCA, does it operate just in Canada or in Kenya also?
Well, 8 of our programs are domestic, but recently we just started 2 international programs, and those are international relief and development. We also have tourism, trade, and investment, and those programs actually are there to serve our country back home in Kenya, but also we serve other African countries. So we are soon starting a diaspora circle, which is actually to serve, it's for socio-economic empowerment. And for that reason, because it's domiciled in Kenya, we have to have an office in Kenya. Yes, we have international activities that are coming up, projects and programs.
Innovation and technology for gender equality was the theme for this year. In the workshops, topics like the impact of COVID-19 on women and girls, gender equality gaps during COVID-19 pandemic, and skills and resources for COVID-19 recovery and resilience were discussed.
My name is Professor Joki Wan. I am the chair of Social Justice Education at the University of Toronto. And I was invited to address issues of gender-based violence. And I started by indicating that we are all victims of violence. And then I went on to talk about who are the victimizers. And I gave a whole list of our history, of society, institutions, and and the structures that offend and victimize us. And then I went on to talk about the various the various types of gendered violence. I talked about physical violence, and I said everybody knows about that. But what is not known is what causes psychological violence, and I talked about that. But one thing that I really emphasized is the internalized violence among ourselves. We beat ourselves, we devalue ourselves because we don't love ourselves. I also emphasized how racism is a huge part of violence that we have experienced as people of African ancestry or racialized people. And I said one of the biggest problem with racism is internalized racism that we experience as racialized people. We hate each other, we put down each other, and we need to address that. And then I talked a little bit about how do we prevent that. Education is very important. Number two, self-love, having times to reflect, and having time to think through what are the triggers that makes you want to hit somebody else. Thank you.
Then it was time for different personalities to give their speech. Free Canada TV had the chance to talk to some of them.
What a beautiful idea, Ephraim, to have a dinner like this dedicated to International Women's Day. And I also want you to know, in the city of Brampton, not only did we have a beautiful celebration for International Women's Day on Tuesday at Brampton City Hall, but we have a desk dedicated to Africa. We're the only big city in Canada that has an economic development desk dedicated to Africa.
We celebrate a woman. If you had some words to tell to the woman today, what can it be?
Hi. So we have the privilege today of having our Second Lady of Kenya, Pastor Dr. Dorcas Rigathi, here in Canada on our maiden voyage to Canada, to Toronto. And the message is consistent, in Kenya and Canada, around the world, that we must celebrate our women, celebrate our moms, celebrate our sisters, our daughters, because ultimately, without them, society would not function in the way we need to, in the way it does, and we rely upon them and absolutely need to champion them as well.
This event has been organized by the KCA. If you had a word to tell them.
Oh, KCA, so in particular, Ephraim Maura and his phenomenal board of directors have been just a wonderful, wonderful asset to Kenya-Canadian relations, to the constituents of Kenya in Canada, of which we have some 25,000 in Ontario alone. The energy, the professionalism, the governance they have brought as a board with specific portfolios, the inclusion of members of the diaspora across Canada has been, refreshing. Particularly with COVID, all the challenges that brought, they kept, persevering with resilience, and it was just a tremendous asset for us to have as instruments of the government with the missions we have across Canada. It's a way for us to reach the people of Kenya, the people of Canada who've got interest in Kenya, and reach it more deeply, more widely. Just having more hands makes light work.
Nimeamua says, I have decided, I have purposed. I came to realize that you are the best prophet of your own. What you prophesy of your own is what you become. And we have had these great words from these great women who have spoken and said, believe in yourself. So this is a song of you saying that I have a vision. I decide today that I am going to be an eagle. I refuse to be a chicken. I want to soar like an eagle. And we have been given that permission. So can we dance this song? Let's go. Nimeamua leo
some dance of joy. It was time to hear the chief guest, Her Excellency Pastor Dr. Dorcas Rigatti.
I think it is good for women to celebrate themselves. Sometimes you don't need anybody to celebrate you. You can celebrate yourself. Just clap for yourself and just... And you know, we are talking about inclusion, and we have gender with us. I am a mother of the boy child. Can we clap for our boy children? You know, a mother will always say, from womb to the grave, a man is always a boy child to a mother. And therefore, every one of you who have come, I want to just extend the warm love of a mother to the boy children in the house. Thank you. You make the world a balanced world, and therefore, you have come to celebrate the women. You can see they are all over in the technology world. They seem to be leading.
You came very far from Kenya to Canada. What is the message you brought to the women, the people of Canada?
I came all the way from Kenya, to celebrate the woman in Canada and in Kenya and in the whole world. And to tell you that when women rise and when women speak, the world speaks. And I know that as we are celebrating women, we are celebrating family, we are celebrating development, we are celebrating the transforming agent, who is the woman. And that is why I'm here.
You did talk about the boy child, a very touching message. What is it about?
The boy child everywhere in the world has been left behind, neglected and rejected. Most of them, you find them now, they are abusing drugs and they are in mental illness. And what we are saying as a mother, I believe that the boy child should have equal opportunity. And we have had affirmative action for the girl child. The girl child is now sophisticated, educated, and she's everywhere. But this girl child cannot do without the boy child, because it is a boy child that is a seed carrier, the one who marries this woman. And we are saying we need to change the mindset of the boy child so that we can have balanced families and balanced communities.
Well, I'm Charmaine Williams, the Associate Minister for Women's Social and Economic Opportunities for the province of Ontario. I am the first black woman or black person to have a cabinet position with Doug Ford in the PC government for Ontario. And, you know, it's really been an opportunity to talk about the driving factors that contribute to women being in positions that are difficult in abusive relationships and not being able to contribute fully to the economic game plan that we have for Ontario. So now it's about making sure that we're investing in women and identifying those key areas like working on our boys and our men, so that we can make sure we have the best landscape for women being successful. I often say when I'm at the legislature that when women succeed, Ontario succeeds. And that is my goal, to see women have opportunities in Ontario.
Before you go back to Kenya, if you had one word for KCA, the Kenyan Canada Association, what can it be?
One thing I know is that from Kenya we have a great country for investment, and I think a partnership between Kenya and Canada is one of the places we are going to explore. It's the next frontier, and I really thank you.
This event was an occasion for other CEO of organizations to speak about their work too.
Yes, my name is Kashoro Nyenyezi. I represent Helping Hand for Survivors in DRC, in the state of Kentucky, in the US, and now here in Toronto. So in DRC, we serve women survivors of sexual, gender-based violence. So we help the women, we do empower them because they are very traumatized after they are raped. So we empower them so that they can come back and be independent financially. We have different departments and services where we support those women. And most of those women are widows now because once they are raped, their husband chases them out of the house. So we have children born with no parents, and we support those children and children with malnutrition as well. So here in Toronto, we registered Helping Hand for Survivors Canada. So what we do is we promote African culture here, and we also work with gender-based violence and domestic violence among women, like African women here, black African women.
This beautiful background you can see, decoration was made by Trish Design, and we are having her here with us. For those who doesn't know what is Trish Design, please.
Trish Design is a company that I started in 2020. It's a event decor company, and we focus on everything all glam and fabulous as the background behind me. So we focus on community events like this one, like Kenyan, baby shower, bridal showers, weddings, and etc. So anything you want to celebrate, we got you.
For today's event, what was the inspiration you used to make this?
We focused on the Kenyan colors because it's a Kenyan event, so we focused on the Kenyan colors, yeah.
I wanna make you proud, so you can sing out loud. That's my girl, that's my daughter. When I'm doing it big, crossing borders, what would I be without your love? Couldn't have made it so far without you. Tonight we wanna celebrate life.
Hey, if your mother is here, make sure you give her some love. If she's not here, she's still watching you from above. So we dance with our mamas with any chance you have, okay? Oh, got it from my mama. Nobody can step up on my mama.
Ultimately, the women and the public in general could not hide their motivations, appreciations, and satisfactions.
Joel Richardson.
What really motivates you to participate on this evening ceremony?
Well, I'm a great lover of Kenya, and obviously I'm a great lover of women. It's here International Women's Day, but we're a huge supporter of the Kenyan Canada Association. Again, without going on too much, I'm a longtime lover of Kenya. We got an ongoing project, the Matipso Portal in Baringo County, just north of Eldama Ravine. It's been going for over 33 years, the connection, and yeah, so that's why I'm here. Huge supporter of Ephraim, and again, a huge supporter of the Kenyan community.
My name is Jackson Juguna Mungai. I'm a Kenyan living here in Canada, and I was so much motivated by Her Excellency Pastor Dorcas Rigathi Gachagua because of the passion that she has for the boy child. In spite of the fact that this was a women event, she had so much passion in her in the discussion that she brought on the table pertaining to the boy child. Because she said that in as much as we are empowering the girl child and the woman, it is also a high time that we remember the girl child, the boy child, as well as the male. Because in as much as we want to empower the girl child, at the end of the day, she will not be a successful mother alone. She also needs an empowered boy who will later become a husband, and together the institution of family will stand. So that is something that has come out clearly from her, and I will encourage all of us here to support her invitation in rescuing the boy child. So God bless Pastor Dorcas and her entourage, and also with the Kenyan Canadian Association.
My name is Ruth Kamau, and as for women, let's stand up in the society and that we be able to lift one another. Let's try to lift the society, lift the woman that is behind, the woman that is below us. We lift one another, and let's be a sisters keepers.
My name is Leisha Van Rosie, third generation Kenyan. Have been here in Canada for 37 years and have been back home 28 times. We love our country. As a woman here in Canada, I have been very fortunate in that I have been recognized for who I am. There are very few women who can say this because we are always put down. We never brought up. With especially our Kenyan ladies now being educated, holding wonderful positions, for example, Our Excellency Balozi, to have a woman Kenya High Commission in Canada is so empowering to us women, and it shows what we can do and how far we can reach. And so all I would say to the women, not only in Canada, in Kenya, all over the world, just be true to yourself, work on your strengths, just be true to yourself, work on your strengths, and you will get somewhere in this world.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Charity Musila. I'm the representative of Kenya at the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal. I'm so happy to be here celebrating with the women, Kenyan women and women in general in this event organized by Kenyan Canadian Association. I enjoyed the workshop. There were a lot of takeaways specifically about women being able to be bold and drive their agenda. And I commend the association for the organization of the event. It's my first time to attend this event in Canada, and I'm really happy to meet great Kenyans doing great things. Thank you.
I feel asking you this question, why Kenya Airline does not come to Canada?
Thank you for that question. Many keep asking that, but in fact, Kenya Airways still operates in Canada, but in partnership with the Air Canada. If you book from Kenya, for example, you are able to book because of the code sharing with Air Canada and completely of flight on Kenya Airways and Air Canada partnership. But I need to say that I don't represent Kenya Airways, but that is the industry arrangement that exists for now.
Yeah, so my name is Isaac Orolafe, Jr., President and CEO of Dreammaker Inc. We're an asset management real estate development company. It was a great event and obviously a great celebration for Women International Day, month, week, years, as our Excellency said. And it was great to see a great message for the Kenyan community. And you know, as a fellow Nigerian and a fellow African, it was great to support our countrymen and really on the activities that she's trying to do within Kenya, and we're hoping too at Dreammaker we'll be able to support in one capacity or the other around affordable housing and some of the technology innovation activities in Kenya. So definitely a great event.
Look at that beautiful queen. Hey.
Thank you.
She's got some moves.
Your last word, sir.
Well, I just want to say that I'm very thankful myself for supporting the women through this program. And this organization, as I said, is being supported by the women. Majority of our volunteers are women. And that's why I feel very, very happy that today we did our first International Women's Day. Thank you.